Welcome.
Welcome.
It is Thursday,
The 23rd of June.
23rd of June. I'm still here.
And so is Baby Ninja. So you're like about a week
Overdue.
Over a week overdue.
Yep.
Because last Friday was your due date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, still here.
She's still here.
Somebody's still on the inside. But, bonus for all of you.
One more podcast.
We're here to put one more podcast out on our regularly scheduled day. So this is the Must Love Yarn podcast. I'm Angela.
And I'm Kelly.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Junior Bird Kid.
And I'm on Instagram as Kelly O Spins and Ravelry as Kelly Spins.
And you can find our store in Shelburne, Vermont, Must Love Yarn, on all social media platforms as Must Love Yarn.
That's right.
So Ravelry, Facebook, Instagram,
Periscope. You know what I'm gonna do for Periscope?
What?
Is I'm gonna do like a virtual tour of the store.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like sometime before I open in the morning, I'm gonna walk through and so at least we'll have something up. So if people go to our Periscope page, there won't be like nothing there. Yeah, there'll at least be a video because you can archive them and watch them after they're not live anymore. So.
Nice. And I believe this is episode 10.
Is it? Oh, it is episode 10.
I think it's episode 10.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Wow, double digits.
So
that's because
awesome.
We've pretty much been doing one almost
every
a week. So
yeah,
2.5 months worth.
So here we are, and this is a knitting, crafting podcast. Occasionally we talk about
local stuff,
gardening, food,
gardening,
adult beverages.
Yeah.
But mostly knitting.
Yeah. So thank you for coming back if you're a returning viewer, and thank you for coming if you're a new viewer. We're excited to have you. Yeah.
Hopefully you'll come back again.
Yes. We hope so. We hope that we're informative and have some interesting things to talk about. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have some finished objects.
I do. So I was just telling Kelly before we got onto the podcast that I've been trying to scale back at work. Yeah. So I've been working half days maybe, which for me translates to like 4 or 5 hours. And then have been spending the rest of the time just kind of relaxing and knitting. So I've been able to finish quite a bit of things. And one of those things is the featherweight cardigan. Yay! Because we are hosting a featherweight knit along right now.
We are.
It runs through the end of July.
So if you're fast knitter or really determined or want to do short sleeves, you could get one done before the end of July, and we have some great prizes.
Yes.
From Fiber Stash and just donating a whole sweater's quantity of yarn. We've got project bags. Yeah, we've got some
stitch markers, progress keepers, like
really great prizes.
I think we'll probably pull some other stuff off the shelves for prizes. So we're giving prizes for both the chatter thread on the Ravelry group and for the finished objects thread.
So yeah, I mean a lot of the really nice prizes are going to go for people who actually finish their featherweights. But if you don't get it done, yours done in time, if you participate in the chatter thread, we're going to have some prizes there too. So
So this is, I have striped my yarn. So I'm using a solid Findley dappled lace weight and then a classic elite more variegated yarn. I did decide to do short sleeves. I might still eventually rip them out. They're a little bit too long. I kind of wanted to stop them here, but we'll see. So I think it turned out good.
It's really cute. I like it a lot.
I like the striping. It's got a bunch of different colors in it, like purples and oranges and greens, so I can actually wear lots of different colored shirts underneath it.
So what is that 1 by 1 rib?
It is 1 by 1. Yeah. I think so. It is a 1 by 1 twisted rib, but I did the twist on both sides.
Okay.
So that's why it's doing weird things on the purl side. It looks like it's 2 stitches, but it's because I twisted the rib.
Okay.
Both coming and going.
on wrong side and right side rows.
Yeah, so it created sort of an interesting
I know. I was like, I looked at that and trying to figure it out, and I was like, is there like 2 rows of... No, it's not. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it... Well, maybe I'll take a picture of it, and we can post it up so you can see what it's doing on the pearl side.
Yeah.
Or the pearl section.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks like there's 2 stitches there.
It does. Yeah. Interesting.
Just making design elements on my own here.
That's right. No, it came out really pretty.
Thank you. I like it. Perfect for like this kind of weather we've been having, where it's a little chilly inside. Well, most people would find it chilly. I personally would be running around in just a tank top because. Yeah. But it's been 70s, 80s. Yeah. And so when you go in with the AC, it's nice to have something.
And our mornings have been in the 50s.
A little chilly.
Yeah.
Well, and very comfortable.
Well, yeah, it's been like in the 50s in the morning, and then it warms up to...
It's almost 80 out there now.
Yeah, it's like high 70s, low 80s today, which is it's beautiful, but... It's
supposed to be 90 by the weekend.
I know. Hopefully Ninja comes before then, so...
Well, we're set because I finally got air conditioner.
Oh, you did?
Installed.
That's right, the air conditioning debacle.
So my husband went to install the air conditioner at the end of last week. Because he's fantastic. Because it was going to be really hot over the weekend, like 90s, humid, going to be miserable.
And it was.
And it was. Mm-hmm. So he was installing on Friday and accidentally dropped it out the second floor window of our house.
Narrowly missing
our propane line. And kersplatting said air conditioner on the ground. So that was the end of the air conditioner. Yeah. And trying to find a replacement heading into a 90-degree weekend is difficult.
Well, not only that, but I think, a lot of stores, a lot of places around here,
they don't
put that much inventory in because, we only have maybe a week or 2
really
in the summer where you actually would want it. And
except for this year.
This year, it has been a little bit funny. I mean, it's really early for us. Usually our really hot weather, we'll get like late July.
August.
Early August, we'll have a week or 2.
Right in time for the fair.
Yeah. A week or 2 of really hot, humid weather. When we're having a hot weather, it's usually always very humid too, so it's really uncomfortable. Right. So most people in Vermont, they'll just have an air fan. Yeah, they'll have a box fan, or if they have an air conditioner, they'll just have one in their bedroom so they can, so make it through the night, so you can get at least some rest.
Not a lot of central air up here.
No, there's not. I mean, there are some houses that have it, but for the most part, I mean, we don't need it that often, so.
And we usually don't. We usually don't put it in. It's just, I'm uncomfortable, and the humidity is way worse. I need the air conditioner to take the humidity out of the air.
Yeah, so that's yeah, I know, because we a lot of times will turn up the temperature on the air conditioner, so it's not that cold, but it just it gets that moisture out of the air, which is nice.
So anyway, found one, got it installed Tuesday, right in time for it to be like pouring down rain and like 50 degrees out, but it's going to warm up again. It's going to be in the 90s this weekend, so I'm glad that it's in there, and even with it being 80 today, I'll have to go home and fire it up.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was our fun, exciting news from last week, and probably a good thing my husband doesn't watch the podcast, or he'd be like, why are you talking about that? Because it's funny. Because it wasn't me that it happened to.
I know. That happened to us when we were taking ours out, and I was just so thankful that it wasn't plugged into the wall, because it probably would have ripped the entire electrical system right out, too.
Yeah.
When ours fell out, it had rained, and so the ground was so soft, it really didn't do any damage to the air conditioner. It, like, cracked one little part of the plastic fins, but, like, it left this huge divot right in the ground. It was like...
If you could envision like a cartoon air conditioner falling out of a window and like it accordions, that's what ours looked like. Seriously, it was just like, you can't make this up.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I'll see if I can find it at home and take a picture of it, put the picture in so you can see
the carnage.
The carnage.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, but
it is nice having one, especially at night if I decide to knit before going to bed, because then you're not hot and
sticky.
And just my hands when it gets really
Sweaty.
hot and humid. Not only that, but just like my joints, it bothers my joints. Yeah. Because the pressure change, it can really affect the fluid in your joints, and so having the air conditioning is nice for that. So.
Right.
I don't know.
Do you have any finished objects?
I have no finished objects, but I know you have another one.
I've got another one. See, I'm finishing stuff. I'm stash dashing. I'm up to almost 5,000 yards for stash dash.
Wow.
I'm still debating whether I'm going to declare.
To meters.
I know. So it's less because meters short.
A little bit. Short. Not too much.
I'm still trying to gauge whether I can do the 7K or whether I should be, reasonable and just stick with the.
It ends in
August.
So.
I was kind of waiting for to come to see how much knitting time I was going to have. Because if I can't manage to knit too much more, I should probably stick with a 5K. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on to declare while still tracking all of my yardage. But
yeah, because I mean, if he or she ends up being a good sleeper and everything else, you might actually have some time
to pound some stuff out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's like going to be dependent.
So I finished these socks.
Those are cool.
Sock 1. Sock 2.
And they are so close to matching.
Look at how close they are.
They're really, really close.
That's actually a good shot for seeing.
Yeah, it is.
Matchy.
Very close. Yeah, you did a great job. They're so
Kelly was my assistant when I was winding off the yarn to start the second one. So when they're on your foot, nobody's going to be able to tell or notice that.
And these are Gail's art, right? For anybody who hasn't.
Yep, Gail's art sock blank. It was. I'm trying to think of what the name of the sock blank was. I can't remember, but it did not look like this. It had flowers and other things on it. Yeah. So fun.
Is that? Fun do you have a picture of that on your page? Because I always link in show notes. I always link to our Ravelry pages of projects that we've either finished or we're working on. So.
I did remember to take a picture before.
Awesome.
So
I think you were part way in, and I'm like,
you're like,
you
should take a picture, and I was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah. There's no putting it back together once you get too far.
Exactly. And this is, I didn't use a pattern for this. This is 72 stitches in the round on US 1s, just a vanilla sock. Yeah. Miles and miles of stockinette with a heel flap and gusset heel. Nice. So.
They're great. You can tuck them away until it gets a little cooler.
Absolutely. Or if we have a cool day here somewhere. Mm-hmm. I have a little bit of yarn left. Actually, I have quite a few. I only used, I think, 70 grams of the 100-gram skein. Mm-hmm. So there'll be some cozies. Yeah. Because it doesn't take very much yarn.
No, and it's good for this time of year.
Using leftovers.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm going to do like a sock yarn leftover blanket, and then clearly I've started it. No.
Did you see Susan B. Anderson is doing, what is it, like 2 weeks worth of Christmas socks? So she's starting knitting Christmas socks now. So that for the 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, she'll have handmade socks to wear.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of good, rather than, because a lot of us have Christmas yarns that we've gotten and that we just, we got right around Christmas time, because a lot of people think of it 2 weeks before Christmas.
So she's knitting one pair of socks for the 2 weeks before. She's knitting a pair of socks for every day.
Each day. And so that's why she's starting now.
I'm not that fast of a sock knitter. I mean, I'm pretty quick, but...
I think that's what it was. It was something, maybe it's only a week. I don't know, but...
She must only be knitting socks.
Well, and she does knit a lot of socks, but yeah, I'll have to double check, but it was something like that. She was getting ready for Christmas socks. And she was starting now.
I always have grand plans to start my Christmas knitting now. And I can tell you how that's worked out for me.
Yeah, well, I've gotten to the point where I don't know if I should call it being selfish about my knitting.
I've been knitting a lot of stuff for myself.
Don't have that many people that, I don't want to say knit worthy. I think that just a lot of, I really enjoy working with wool and natural fibers, and obviously cotton's a natural fiber, which I'm not, it depends on the cotton. I have a hard time knitting with cotton because there's some cotton that's just not very pleasant to knit with out there, and Ange knows what I'm talking about because
she's hurt. Hi, Carol.
She's but
she's gonna have to come back in if she forgot the sheet protector.
Oh, well, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe she's got one out there. And So anyway, I've just gotten to the point where, you know, a lot of the people that I knit for either don't really want to wear wool, or, you know, they go warm places for the winter, or so it's just, you know, putting that much time and effort into something and then not having somebody enjoy it the way you would hope it would be enjoyed is...
Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't think that's necessarily selfish. I think it's just practical, and if you're going to...
You know, I resent the term selfish knitter.
Yeah.
Like, it's a craft, and we should be able to do it for ourselves without being accused of being selfish. Like,
I know. I mean, we're making pieces. If you think about, I've got sweaters that I've had for years, and I mean, if you take care of them, they're going to last you even more years.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's, I don't know. I think it's...
I mean, we don't hear it used in, like, other contexts. Like, you don't hear, like, selfish painting or I'm a selfish plumber because I do plumbing work on my own house. Like, nobody's like... Well, why would you do that? Like, it's something that seems to be reserved for,
I guess it's
knitting or crafting.
Thought of maybe because it's a hobby, you know, but people that, you know, I don't know, not to pick on golfers, but play golf for a hobby. I mean,
nobody says selfish golfing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they're actually...
Well, and I don't, you know, not to single out golfing, there's other things, too, that people do that are considered hobbies. They're not, you know, somebody's main job, but it's so weird that there's this kind of almost a negative connotation to knitting for yourself. So, I don't know. But anyway, so...
We like to knit for ourselves.
Yes, I like to knit for myself, and on occasion I do knit for other people. I make, every year for Christmas, I make my farrier a hat.
Nice.
She's so cute, because, I mean, she's outside all the time. So a farrier, if you're not familiar, I have a horse, and they're the ones that trim their feet and shoe the horses. And so, I mean, she's outside, and it gets cold in Vermont. So I make her a hat every year, and each year I make it a little bit different. So she's had some really heavy ones and some lighter ones. So she's getting a whole hat collection. This year I might make her fingerless mitts, so that she can, you know, still
do what she needs to do.
Yeah. So, and I'll make them out of like a washable wool, so that, you know, she can just toss them in the washing machine. So, which is useful because they're gonna get dirty.
Yeah. So what have you been working on?
So I've been pretty monogamous with my featherweight.
Ooh,
I've been
fantastic.
I know.
How's it coming? So it's long sleeves.
It is long sleeves. So it's coming very well. I am on the second sleeve, and it is so close to being done.
Oh, look at that.
It's really, really close. So here's I think I've got a couple more row repeats to do, like 3 or 4 maybe. I really wanted to get it done this morning. Well, not the whole thing, but I wanted to get the sleeve done. So yeah, so there's the other sleeve. And I have to go back and tighten all of the ends. You can see all the little bubbles there, but when I weave in the ends, I'll tighten those stitches, because I'm not carrying the yarn up through, because to carry the yarn, say from this green stripe to this green stripe, there's like 12 stitches in, well, actually there's more than that. There's 14 stitches in between, and that's a pretty long carry. You know, if I was just doing, you know, if I had from here to here, if I was just using one color in between for my stripe, then, you know, that's only 6 stitches, and I would do that. But 12 is a little bit, or it's 14 is a little long, so I'm cutting them as I go. So I have to go back in and weave in ends, but that's fine. I don't mind doing that. And so yeah, so I'm getting really close on that sleeve.
Nice.
And then once I do that, I'm gonna weave in all my ends, and then I have to pick up around the edge for the collar, like Ange has done.
And that'll go fast.
Yeah, and I'm actually just gonna do all stockinette, because I actually want mine to roll. And I'm gonna do it out of the gray, which is Fiber Stash. It's her Strong Toes base.
Nice.
In the Great Scott colorway, which is so pretty.
Great Scott.
I know, I love it. I know, all these great movies that we grew up with, it's like their 30-year anniversary. So Back to the Future, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and then what was the other one? Oh, it's one of my husband's favorite movies, Top Gun. I know, it's so funny. It's one of those, like, it was funny, we were having a conversation about it the other day, though, about how, you know, when he was growing up, he loved it so much and whatever. But then now that he's watching it, he's like,
why did I like this?
I realize how cheesy a lot of it is, but he's like, I still kind of like it. It's one of those things that's like from your childhood, so you kind of, you know, it's, I don't know. So anyway, it was funny, but like all these great Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I love. It's one of my
a hilarious movie.
Absolute favorite movies. I can really cite lines.
Bueller.
I know. So yeah, it's really, really funny. So, but there's a lot of really great movies out there.
Yes.
That are coming of age, making me feel old.
Particularly when they start remaking them, and you're like, why are they remaking that movie?
Like the Ghostbusters one, they're remaking with the female cast,
that's kind of cool.
It is really cool because they're putting a different spin on it. But yeah, it's so funny. And then or they're doing like these kind of almost sequel, prequel kind of things with some movies, and it's just like, But yeah. Nice. So that's my featherweight, and so I'm gonna keep working on that. Pretty much. Nice. One of the only things I'm working on just so I can get it done. I'm to the point where I really just want to get it off the needles. And the nice thing is, with the stripes, I'll get one done. I'm like, I'm just going to do one more. So I'll sit there and and they don't take very long because on the sleeves. And I'm using the 9-inch circular. Yeah. So you just go round and around and around and around. And
that's what happens to me when I use the striping sock yarn.
I know.
Just one more stripe.
I want to see it. I know. Especially, the striping ones are cool, but also the ones that are make like they're the old school ones that make like the Fair Isle type look, because you're like, I want to see what they look like
opal and Regia and Yawool, like all of those have that kind of
exactly. Yeah. So those are always kind of fun. I've got some of those in my stash that they're so old now too. I'll forget. Sometimes you'll see them on Ravelry, and I haven't looked at them in a while. So I'm like, I don't know what these are gonna net up like.
Or you lost the band that has like a picture on it, so you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be a surprise.
Yeah.
So of course I cast off a pair of socks and then immediately had to cast on a pair of socks.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
Yes. So I'm calling these my Must Love yarn socks because Kelly's laughing because she was with me when I bought this yarn. So when we went to Rhinebeck last year, they had a event Friday night. You were sticking to that. Called Indie Untangled, with a lot of indie dyers and designers who couldn't get into Rhinebeck. So they had it at a hotel there in Kingston.
It was in Kingston. Yep.
Which was fun. So this is Berry Colorful Yarnings, and the tag said, I was looking for a colorway, and it just says indie, so I don't know if it was a special colorway she did
for the show.
The show.
Yeah. That's pretty.
But I bought it because it's like our logo colors, the gray and the teal.
Yeah.
And it was right before we opened the store, and so I was like, I have to buy that. So I'm finally knitting it into a sock.
That's like the ones I did from Lollipop Yarns. Those are very similar to that too. And I thought the same thing. I was like, these look like our colors.
They are. They're just like our mascots.
My blue is a little bit greener than that. The one on the Lollipop Yarns.
The Lollipop Yarns. Yeah. And I think White Birch Fiber Arts has one that's kind of close.
Yeah, she does.
As well.
She does have one that's similar.
And
you're trying out the little circulars?
I'm trying out the 9-inch circulars. Yeah. I started with DPNs.
Did you?
And knit probably this dark gray worth, and then switched over to the circulars.
I started with the circulars.
I
didn't
tried
have an issue,
casting on with the circulars, and it was too fiddly for me.
Really? Yep.
So it's been going better since I did it the other way and then switched over pretty fast. I just started the stockinette portion, so we'll see how if that feels like it goes quicker. I've got to decide what I want to do with the heel.
Yeah, and just so you guys, if you haven't knit with a 9-inch circular, especially for socks before, so you basically, I cast on my 9-inch circular, but a lot of people cast on either using magic loop or double points, and then they'll switch to the 9-inch circulars. Yep. The heel you can actually do on your 9-inch circulars if you want. You can, especially if you're doing a short row, actually any kind of heel, you just go back and forth on the needle, you just turn it, and you put 2 little stitch markers on either side so you know where to turn, and then you can work down the foot. You can also do the heel on double points or magic loop if you're more comfortable with that. The toe you do have to do on either double points or magic loop.
Because you would get down, so you wouldn't be able to knit
you don't
it.
Exactly. Cord. Exactly. So you either have too much or too little cord, however you want to look at that.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tried them, they are great, especially because, on the leg and the foot of the sock, which is the biggest part of the sock, you just keep going around and around. You don't have to worry about laddering, and it makes it really nice and much quicker, I think. But I also haven't had to change the way I knit.
I haven't really either. I have considered just doing an afterthought heel with these, so then I can just knit a tube.
Yep.
Do the toe and then come back and put the heel in.
Yep.
Later. We'll see. I've been meaning to do afterthought heel for about 6 different pairs of socks.
Would you do a true afterthought, or would you do a waist yarn?
I'd probably do a true afterthought.
Would you?
Because I wouldn't want to spend the brain power figuring out where I need to start the heel now. I would just knit it and then be like, all right, the heel needs to be here.
That's true.
Yeah. And then my leg would be just however long that ended up being.
Yeah, because you can measure for the foot, and then whatever
2 inches
short of that. Yeah. Usually between
1.5 to 2 inches.
Yeah. On mine, I end up doing like 2.5 or so. I do a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because I don't mind. I like quite a bit of negative ease in mine, both the width and the length. Because I like really snug socks. So I usually I leave about 2.5 inches, and then I'll start for the heel. But of course, I usually do toe up. I'm not with a 9-inch because I just cast on. I wanted to cast right on and not have to pull out my circulars to do magic loop. But
so I don't know. We'll see. By the time I get to the heel, I'll be like, I need a break. I'm just gonna put in my regular heel. Though probably not a regular heel because it's self-striping. So I'll probably do something like
Fish Lips Kiss.
Fish Lips Kiss heel or OMG.
What was the one that you did? Oh, that was a different one for your last ones you finished.
The orange and green ones.
I don't know. You told me.
It's like a thumb joint hat top heel.
Was it that one? It may have been that one.
I might do that. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'll have to get out like Laura Neal's sock architecture book and take a look at some of the heels and see, because there's definitely heels that are really good for self-striping that preserve that striping sequence.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and of course afterthought is, you can always do it with that because you can choose
which color.
you can you can either put in waist yarn if you know exactly which stripe you want to split, and then you can start anywhere on the leftover yarn that you have, and
or use other yarn.
Yeah, if you have a contrasting one and you want to do your heels and or toes and or cuffs.
Yep.
In contrasting, then you can do that pretty easily.
Yep. So we'll see how this shakes out.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my travel knitting.
Nice.
In bed at night knitting.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. I only have one other thing that I'm working on some of the time. Well, that's not exactly true, but it's the only other thing that I brought with me. My lonely little sock is in here too, but I haven't been working on that, so I won't show it to you. So, if you are doing the Shawl Society...
I am. Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, if you know me, you know how much I love my shawls. I wear a lot of shawls.
I got suckered in after that podcast.
That's right. And Carol's doing it now too, so I don't know if
Cindy, you want to do it.
Does she? Come on, Cindy. Come on. We're enablers here. This is what we have to do. So anyway.
She's cursing me right now.
So if you are doing the Shawl Society and you don't want to, and you haven't started the first shawl and you haven't looked at any pictures and you don't want to see it, then I advise you to look away because I'm going to be showing the one that I'm working on, and it's going to be showing the one that she's working on, and
spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's a spoiler alert, and I'm going to show you a picture from Helen Stewart of a couple finished ones. So I will.
So look away.
So look away and look away
forward.
now, and don't come back until we're through this. No, please do come back.
Go away now.
And so this is, I don't think there's anything magical on here. Nope, it's all about blocking and finishing, weaving and ends. So there's 2 different ones that she finished. So this pattern is really nice. There's 3 different size options that you can do, and there's a small, medium, and large, and the small takes 1 skein of sock yarn. The medium takes 1.5 or so, and the large takes 2.
Right, or 100-gram skein of lace weight, because you can also do this in lace weight.
Okay, yep. So there's a lace weight version too. So so it's great. So you really can, depending on what you have for yarn, you can tailor it, you know, to what you've got on hand, or you know, if you saw some great new yarn that you want to use. She recommends. So she used a very light colored variegated. There's not a lot of contrast between the colors in the variegation, especially on this. Whoops. On this light colored one. There is a variegation to it, but it's really low contrast, and this one is actually a gradient. So you know, you want to use something that doesn't have a lot of contrast between the colors in it, because you won't be able to see the pattern as well.
I would say, even, I mean, you're knitting on darker yarns, but I think the pattern shows up even better on the lighter, though that's actually not bad.
It does. It is showing up. So you do a little star pattern on the shawl, which I'll show you in just a minute, which gives it texture. On mine, it's going to look more like texture because I'm doing a really dark color.
On mine, which is a lighter color, you can actually see the
more
stitch.
of the stitch itself.
Yep.
So I am using Malabrigo sock in the soulless colorway, and this, I was so good. I went stash diving. I didn't realize I had so much Malabrigo in my stash.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, look at this color. Whoa, look at this color. Yeah, so I've been trying to be good and use yarns that we actually sell in the store too, because then these can be shop samples, which is nice, because it's so helpful to see yarns knit up. When you go into a store, you know, if you haven't worked with a yarn before, it is really nice and helpful to see that. So I haven't gotten very far. I think the way Helen Stewart does hers, she does it by she does a percentage thing. So on her directions, over on the side, she'll tell you when you're on this row, you're at 20%. So you can actually weigh your yarn and make sure that you're going to have enough, so that you can adjust for that if you need to.
Are you knitting the small?
I am doing the small because I only had just 1 skein of this. So yeah, I'm doing the small. So this,
because I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, if you're at 20%, I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
If you're knitting a large.
No, I am not doing a large. I'm doing a small, which may be a little bit harder to wear, but
well, you could do the legacy knit solution and just make it a cowl.
Either that or I don't know if you've seen, but the Jewel Designs, they make the leather clasps and closures, and they have a new one that is basically 2 discs of leather. One is a little bit bigger and one's smaller, and they have what they call a Chicago screw. If you know anything about horses and tack, they're called Chicago screws, and they're basically a metal. They look like a rivet on one side, and then they've got like a screw head on the other, and they screw together. And what you do is you can actually take that and you can put it through, like these have eyelets, so you can put it through the eyelets, or if you have a really open weave, and then you sandwich them together so it looks like you have this cool little leather shawl pin almost, and they stay together really well because you just screw them together.
Interesting.
And so we actually we saw them at TNNA, and we've got info from them, so that might be something that we bring into the store.
Something different.
Yeah, they're really, really handy. They're really cool looking. They come in a bunch of different colors of leather. So anyway, that's the little star pattern. This is on the Soulless colorway, and see, you can see there's texture to it, but it's harder to see. And if now you can see the texture.
I can see it.
So yeah, mine is going to be a lot more subtle, and you will see the texture, but you won't see the stitch as well. But I really like it still. And
so just for comparison, this is mine. This is Zen Gardens, and a lighter with little pops of color, and you can see this light bad, but you can see the stitch.
Tip it back up. There you go.
You can see the stitch pattern a little bit better, so it looks less like texture on mine and more like a stitch.
Yep. That's knitting up really pretty.
Thank you.
Are you alternating skeins, or are you just doing one?
Nope. Yeah. Just doing one, and then I'll start the second one.
Yeah.
And if I'm making a large, so if there's, I think there's enough variegation in here that it's not going to be super obvious.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun.
Carol finished hers. I should have grabbed it.
Oh, we'll put a picture in. I'll go take a picture and put
so
hers
she it's hanging up in the store. So if you're local to us, you can come in and take a peek at it. Yeah. She used the Malabrigo sock in the Archangel colorway, which if you're not familiar with, it's kind of like some really pretty oranges and rust, and it goes into purples and magentas. Yeah. So it's really pretty. She wasn't sure if she liked it because there is more a contrast between the colors. So like mine a little bit, it's harder to see the actual definition of the star pattern stitch, but it is still very, very pretty. So
because there's a nice lace detail on the bottom.
There is.
This one, and Helen Stewart was kind enough to this week send out the email for
the
shawl number 2.
Not the actual pattern, but she gives you, the way she does it is great. So she tells you exactly which yarn she used to knit. So you can see, you can go and look at and see what kind of yarn she used, and she gives recommendations. So for this one, again, it was, recommended a yarn that doesn't have as much variegation to it, or if it is, it's a lighter variegation like this last one, so that you can see the stitch pattern, which is nice to have that.
And the new one coming out, you can do 2 colors.
That's right.
1 color.
That's right, and beads too.
And beads.
Yeah. So I was actually I know. I was like, oh, I might do beads.
That's what I was thinking too. But
So we'll link to the Shawl Society. You can go to Ravelry.
You can still get it.
You can get it. It's a little bit more expensive now than it was originally, and in November, I believe, all of the patterns will be available individually.
Oh, okay.
So there is that. So for the whole 6 months when she's releasing these patterns,
you have to buy them as a group.
You have to buy all 6 of them through the Shawl Society. It's like an ebook more or less, and you can get them individually, but not until that 6-month period is over. So right before Christmas, you'll be able to get them individually if you want to. But she writes some really great patterns, so I had no hesitations about getting the whole thing.
I've been enjoying it so far. I haven't knit any of her patterns before, and it's very easy to follow. The directions are clear. Yeah. It's nice. I like that
she does it
track
line by line. Yeah, and you can just either cross them off or use highlighter tape or use, whatever, post-it note to mark them.
And I like the percentage done, so then again, if you're worried that you're running out of yarn, you can throw it on a scale.
Yeah.
And just see where you are, or know if you have to make some sort of adjustment with adding in a new color or something.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's great. It's a fun pattern. It's very intuitive. Since I started, I really haven't had to look at the pattern.
Yeah.
Again, the only thing I have to look at is to know which row I'm on, so when I have to do a pattern row, because most of them are more or less, except for the end stitches, it's just stockinette.
Yeah.
So.
It's a pretty quick.
Yeah.
Quick knit.
Yeah.
Except now I'm up to over 200 stitches.
I know. So it's taking longer. Yeah.
So I have one more project that I pretty much knit like maybe a row on. So I'm counting it. No. Actually, what I did was when I finished Featherweight, I thought, knitting those sleeves on the 9-inch circulars was so much fun. I'm going to get some 9-inch circulars for Mama Vertebrae.
Nice.
Went and pulled the pattern because it's been that long since I knit on this, and actually called for the same size needles. So I just took off the double points and put on the circulars, US size 6, and knit a couple of rows. So sleeve number 1 is almost done. This one I am going to do sort of a 3/4 sleeve. So I've got a few more inches to go on the first sleeve, and then the second sleeve, and then the band in the front. So I'd like to get this done because this could be the thing that pushed me up to the 7,000 meter 7K for Stash Dash, because there's a lot of yardage in this.
Well, have you counted Gather Together?
I did.
Okay, so that's part
of that's part of my almost 5,000 yards right now.
Nice. Yeah. I have to go look at it on Lurking Lucy.
I took a picture. I'll put it in.
Yeah.
Because I fixed the button bands.
So Lurking Lucy, if you haven't been, we showed her in an outtake in an earlier episode. She's one of our shop
mannequins.
Display mannequins, and she always just freaked us out because
she managed to scare at least, I think, everybody who worked here at least once when we first opened the store, because you would walk in and see the shadow of something that looks like a person out of the corner of your eye.
Well, when we first had her too, she was like right inside the door. So you come in the morning and be like,
that was a bad idea.
Yeah, it was. So we moved her to the corner so she's not as like right there in your face.
But I think Gather Together is a sweater that the way the yoke is done, you need to have it on something that has arms.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the yoke looks weird.
Yeah.
Because if the arms are just hanging there. Mm-hmm. So it had to go on Lurking Lucy because she's the only mannequin that has arms.
Well, it was time we changed out some of our displays anyway. So, yeah.
So anyway, so I'll put a picture in. So.
Very nice. Yeah. So I really don't have a lot. I don't have any other knitting. I actually was working on. We've had a lot of people interested in crochet that have been coming in.
Nice.
That either do crochet or want to learn to crochet. So I'm actually started a couple different crochet samples, and I've been using some nice yarn because I think sometimes there's a misconception that either crochet patterns or crochet in general, you use the not so good yarn, and there's some great patterns that are being written now for really good yarns, and people are doing some really good things with crochet. So there's actually a crochet pattern that is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I can't remember the name. I didn't bring it with me. I've got it. I was working on it at home and left it there. But if you've seen the linen stitch scarf, the knit one, it looks very similar to that, except it's crocheted and using a fingering weight yarn. And for me, crochet goes so much faster. So I thought it would be a really neat, pattern to have in the store, because we've got a lot of really gorgeous sock yarns.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a fun one to have and kind of showcase some of the really nice sock yarns, and just for people who like the look of linen stitch but can't fathom the idea of knitting it, because it gets a little tedious.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's really gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, but...
and the nice thing about the crocheted look linen stitch one is it's the same on both sides, which in knitting it's not. So...
Would it be a good, first project for somebody? Or...
It's not bad. It's actually just single crochets for the most part. Chaining and single crochet, so it would be pretty easy. Yeah, it would be a pretty straightforward project for somebody.
So maybe look for some learn to crochet classes later on in the fall.
Yeah, we're actually talking about that because there's a number of people that really, we'll probably do a learn to crochet class where I'm thinking about doing a crochet for knitters class too. So if there's a lot of patterns where you have to do like a crochet edge or something like that, and it's good just to know the basic crochet stitches.
I'll come take your crochet classes.
Okay. So, because I think the biggest thing for people, especially knitters, is that sometimes you're not exactly sure where the stitches that you're supposed to be going into, and for most people that's the biggest thing that's holding them back from kind of tackling a project. So.
I just remember lopsided crocheted pot holders when I was a kid, because my mom was a crocheter, and so she tried to teach me, and I could never get it square. It always was like a rhombus or something, like trapezoid. I don't know how this happened.
Yeah, and a lot of people do find that, because if you're not getting the right stitches on either end, that's when it throws it off.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have been working on that, but like I said, I didn't bring that in with me. So maybe for next time I'll have a little bit more progress on that, because I think I had the chain 400 or something stitches. So
because do you knit it lengthwise?
Yeah, it's crocheted lengthwise. So you've got this whole...
Unlike us crazy knitters that knit from the short end and go back and forth for
well, except for the linen stitch, most of the ones that I've done, long. You actually do the length, so it's 6 feet long of doing that. But for me, crochet is quite fast. I don't crochet as much as I knit, but I am much faster. I can get stuff done crochet much faster than I can knit.
Maybe I should learn for Stash Dash.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's that. And do you have anything else?
That's all I brought with me.
Okay.
Is that not enough? No.
That's a lot. You've had some really good finished objects, which last week I had the two hats, but
absolutely.
But this week I have none. I was hoping to get a little further with my featherweight, but I've had stuff come up, and with the 90-degree weather, I just was working on smaller projects. I just didn't want my sweater sitting on me.
Well, that's part of the reason why the socks got done, is because the talisman shawl actually has cashmere in it, and so if my hands get sweaty at all, like working with yarn that has cashmere in it, it's not fun. Because it sticks to you more so than just a straight up merino.
Well, and cashmere, if you guys don't know, it has a pretty short staple length to it, so it can really be kind of fuzzy. So merino has a shorter staple length. A lot of the really fine, super soft fibers tend to have shorter staple length. That's not always true, but a lot of times it is.
So, sweaty hands can knit for me a lot better with just like basic sock yarn, because it's got nylon in it and it's a lot smoother. And
the really smoother yarns are easier. And we're sitting in front of a fan or the air conditioner knitting. So I do have, I don't know how much we want to show, or if we want to show it all, but Jen left her bag of goodies that she got from TNNA here. And, I don't know how much of it she's going to find on Sunday when she comes in.
She'll be like, what happened to all my yarn?
We may make off with some of it, but I can kind of go through it kind of quickly. I don't know if these are ones that we're necessarily going to bring into the store, but they're ones that we would definitely consider. We've got cards from everybody. So, one a couple skeins that she got is from Mrs. Crosby. So, there's the Mrs. Crosby label.
Is that a single?
It is. Yep. This is Carpet Bag, which is superwash and silk. It's gorgeous. You can see the little bit of sheen to it. And this is the Hosta colorway. It's really pretty. This one I love. I didn't see her when she got this one. I was like, this one just may have to come home with me. Sorry, Jen. It's okay. Yeah, I think she's behind on her podcast anyway, so it'd be a while before
By the time she realized it was missing.
She may have forgotten it. So
Kelly might have a finished project.
Yarn?
Here, I made you this gift out of your yarn.
Oh my gosh. So this is another Mrs. Crosby that she got. This is a reticule, which is their lace weight base, and this is 100% superwash merino in the pansy colorway.
Nice. Look at how good that matches my shirt. Maybe I'll make off with that one.
I know. See, we can just divvy up her spoils. No, we wouldn't do that to Jen.
Not without asking first.
Or telling first. So the other thing she got, I showed you two colors at the very end of last week's podcast. I was like, oh wait, here's two more. They had fallen on the floor, and I think I had said Eternal Effects. It's not. It's Elemental Effects is the yarn company. So this is all Shetland in gorgeous colorways. These are Jen's colors. She loves purples and teals and stuff. Which, I mean, really, who doesn't? I mean, look at what we're wearing. So, I think that's a common theme for all of us that work here. We all like, I think we all like purple and the teals and aquas and stuff like that, which is so funny because it's anyway.
Hence our logo.
So it came with a pattern to do. I don't think there's any info on here. A Rosemary Hill pattern, which is really cool. It's a really, really pretty pattern. So that came as a kit. So that's really, really gorgeous. So that could be a yarn that we could bring in. It's nice that they've got that Shetland, and they've got natural colors, and they also had the dye colors too. So the other thing that she got, which the rep for Trendsetter was here the other day, and I didn't bring their yarn in yet, but Jen did get 2 of their transitions kits.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
These are really cool. It's hard to see with the glare.
It's like multiple strands.
It is, but it's it just doesn't have a really tight twist to it. You can see that
almost no
they're kind of splitty and individual. So you have to be careful with this when you're knitting with it so that you don't split the strands.
But that's a perfect packaging for what it is, because you probably wouldn't want to take it out of the packaging.
Yeah, and so yes, they have this little grommet in here so that you pull the yarn directly right out of the box. And then it comes with this pattern too. So you can knit that, which is really, really pretty. So, and they have 8 different colors in this. And This one it was harder to see, but it goes from purple on the outside to gray on the inside, and with the glare, it's going to be hard to see anyway.
That would also make a really great talisman.
Yes, it would be. It would be really pretty. So this is the green and teal and aqua colors. This is color number 6, and the gray and purple is color number 7.
I'm surprised she ended up with the teal.
I know.
As purple.
Are you seeing a trend here? This one that I just showed you that has those colors in it, and then the first 2. Yep. Yeah. So.
We do have other colors in the store.
We do
stock many colors.
We do. So Ancient Yarns, Ancient Art Yarns was also there. This is their big squeeze base. It's a bulky weight, and it's 100% superwash fine merino. Fine merino, super, super soft.
Nice.
It's really squishy, really pretty colorway. Does it say the
And
colorway?
it's not teal.
It's not. Oh, look,
purple.
it's got a little bit of teal in it.
And a little bit of purple.
But it's gorgeous.
It's a lovely color.
So this is a road less traveled, and that's their yarns. And it's really, really pretty.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's super soft and squishy. We didn't actually end up buying these. There was a luncheon that we went to on Friday, and it was sponsored by Universal Yarns, and they actually were giving out skeins of their new tweed that they've got. It's Deluxe Worsted Tweed Superwash.
That's a nice looking tweed.
That's the yarn. It's really quite soft. So she got the dark gray. I got a lighter gray, which I think is at home. My label got all mangled. So it's 90% superwash wool, 7% acrylic, and 3% viscose. So, but it's got a really nice hand to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice and soft, but it does have lots of nice little tweedy bits to it. So, which is nice. It's a really nice tweed, and they had some really pretty colors. So that's something that we can consider too for the store.
I like tweed. Not everybody likes tweed, though.
Yeah. No, I know. We do have some tweed in the store. We've got a bulky weight, we've got an Aran weight, and
fingering. Christy.
Oh, that's right, fingering weight. Christy from Fiber Stash. She's got a fingering weight tweed base. That's really lovely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple colorways I actually want to knit a shawl out of. Imagine that.
Surprise.
Yeah. So I think that's mostly it that Jen had. She may have had a couple other things, but I don't see any other ones here. She got a couple books too. What was that? Oh, I think this is one that came with. Oh, this is the one that was in the Mrs. Crosby. Came in a really cute little bag.
Oh, nice.
And so this book was in it, and there's some really cute patterns in here for just smaller projects, hats, fingerless mitts, things like that. So that was really nice. Most of this is all stuff that we got. She got at the sample it, which I showed you all my loot from
kits and stuff
from last time. Nice. So yeah, they put together some really nice little things. But yeah, so that's the most of it.
So we had a good crew here last weekend for Knit in Public Day.
That's right. We can't forget to talk about that.
As my husband said when I told him on Saturday, it's Worldwide Knit in Public Day today, and he looks at me and goes, "Isn't that every day?"
For a lot of us?
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got a really nice little porch out on the front of our building, and we're right on a busy road, Route 7. If you're from the area, you obviously know Route 7 most likely, and if you're not, it's a fairly busy.
It's the main north and south road on this side of the state.
On the west side, that runs up and down Lake Champlain, and so we're right on that road, and so we had a few people honking at us, and we were waving as we were sitting there knitting, and it was beautiful weather. We had great weather. I think it got up towards the low 80s, but there's
it was a little hotter than that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
this was one day post air conditioner falling out the window.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
But there's a great breeze that was blowing out of the west, and it kept us pretty cool. Late afternoon, about 3-4 o'clock, it started to heat up a little bit, but by then everybody was had been there pretty much all day, so it was kind of winding down. We had some great prizes that we gave away. A big shout out and thank you to Rhonda who donated one of her hand dyed skeins to one of our lucky knitters. So I can't wait to see what she makes of that. And we had a couple other skeins that I pulled from our little stash here at the store, and
project
bag, and I made up a bunch of progress keepers and stitch markers, and gave those away as door prizes. Yep. So it was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of really good feedback. Everybody said, this was just a lot of fun. It was so low key. Everybody brought their lawn chairs and brought some food, and we just kind of had a little picnic outside, yeah. And it was a lovely time. I was kind of running back and forth inside and out, so if it quieted down, I went out and sat with them for a little bit, but it was just a really lovely day.
It was nice. If you followed us on Instagram, we were posting pictures throughout the day.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It was good. And so then upcoming events, we have the Stitch and Pitch.
I'm really
with
looking
the
forward
Lake
to
Monsters on August 6th. So buy your tickets.
Yep. There's I'll make sure the link goes back into the show notes for this week. It's been in the previous show notes. I think I haven't looked, but I know the stands were filling up fairly quickly. So
we're gonna say that's the knitters and crafters.
We hope so. So pick section D, because that's where we're all gonna be.
Yep. Should probably go buy tickets. I haven't done that yet.
Oh, you haven't? I already did mine. So yeah, I've got mine. For me, my husband. Oh, so if you have a significant other who's not a knitter or a spinner or whatever, they can totally come.
They don't have to sit with us.
No. So I could trade my husband. He could go sit with John and William. And so my husband is coming, and so I bought tickets already for that, and so he's excited. He loves baseball, and so he's definitely going for that. But he thinks we're pretty entertaining most of the time to him anyway. So yeah. I mean, he's interested in our knitting, and he'll probably hate me for saying this, but I handed him some knitting needles once, and he's really good at it because he's a very analytical person. Mm-hmm. He's very science-based. Yeah. That's what he does for his everyday job. So, he's very, very meticulous. So he'd probably be like a really phenomenal knitter, but it's just
not his thing.
Not his thing, so, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Stitch and Pitch. I'm really looking forward to it.
I think we're getting the class schedule together.
Yep, we're starting to put the class schedule together. It'll probably be August. It might be late July, but my guess is it's probably August when we're going to start picking back up with classes. We weren't really sure what everybody's schedules were going to be like, and I think July's going to be a pretty busy month for people being
on vacation
or just having a lot on their plate.
Yep.
So my guess is that it'll be August when we start really getting classes going, but keep an eye out in mid to late July. I try to get the class schedule up at least a couple weeks before we've got classes rolling out. So
excellent.
We'll do emails and social media blasts and stuff like that, so that hopefully it'll reach everybody who's interested in classes.
And also keep an eye out, because I understand the Malintosh is in production.
It is,
and we're expecting that to land
probably
early July.
Yeah, probably the first week of July is what I'm hoping. So I think it's actually being dyed this week, and then sometime hopefully end of this week or beginning next week it should ship out. If you don't know them, they're in Texas, so it's shipping from Texas, so it'll take a little bit longer to do that. I forgot, I meant to grab so Alana Dacos, who has done the Botanical Knits books, she just released the Baby Botanical book.
Nice.
And we have it in the store, so if it's something that you're interested in, we do have copies in the store. It's adorable.
Which
is got little kids.
Basically little kids versions of a lot of her adult sweaters.
Yeah, and they're mostly geared towards girls, with the kind of more botanical floral motifs and things like that. But
a few of them you could use for.
There are some of them you could probably
put on a boy.
Yeah, but they're adorable. They're really, really cute.
Nice.
So we do have that book in the store. So I just keep getting off on tangents.
It's fine.
So
tangent away.
I just keep thinking, I'm like, oh wait, we just got this in the store. So, the yarn haul.
Oh yes.
So I just mailed out our contribution. Each of the stores is doing a contribution to the yarn haul. There's 15 stores that are participating.
Wow.
15 stores who are each donating a prize of about, $20 to $30 for the grand prize.
Wow.
That's going to be a phenomenal grand prize.
That's huge.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of maybe reaching. I don't know if Paula, who's organizing it, she's with she owns the Love Yarn Shop, and it is in New Hampshire. And I don't know if she's reached out to any other podcasters yet, but I was thinking about maybe just sending a couple messages to especially some of the ones in New England. The Claire from New Hampshire Knits, she does an audio podcast. Maybe Boston Jen from the Down Cellar Studio. And maybe ND Jen from Commuter Knitter. I don't know if she's podcasting again yet or not. I know she's blogging. Has she? Okay. So I know it's so hard to keep up with all of them sometimes. Because she had adorable twins.
Legacy Knits.
Legacy Knits, yeah. So I'm thinking about reaching out to all of them and seeing if maybe they'll do a little blurb, because it's not just our store. It's 15 stores. It goes from Lake Champlain to the Atlantic Ocean in Portland, Maine.
And everywhere in between. There's quite a few through Vermont and New Hampshire, and a few in Maine too. Yeah. And so you don't have to go to all of them to be entered for the grand prize. What they're going to do is whoever goes to the most stores, if there's a number of people that did, they're going to draw from those people who went to, say you hit 8 stores. If there was 3 people who went to 8 stores, they're going to draw from those 3 people, and that's who the grand prize is going to go to. Okay. So it's going to, and each of the stores, so what you do is you pay, whatever store is your first store, you pay $20, and that's your starting point. You get a tote bag, and you get, the stores are each doing little free gifts or things like that for anybody who's participating. And you get a passport card, which each of the stores, when you go to the stores, they'll cross them off or punch them or whatever they're going to end up doing to mark, to know that you got you did stop there. And then you just go to each of the stores and support some other local stores and maybe see some new stores.
See some new stores. So, and the other thing that actually could go hand in hand with this is Barocco yarns. They have some really fantastic yarns. If you haven't ever worked with any of their yarns, they do some really nice superwash yarns. They've got the Andean Mist, that's really lovely. That's a Barocco yarn.
But they have a Barocco bingo game going on right now.
They do. They have the Barocco bingo game, and we have the bingo cards. You can actually also print them online too, if you want to do that. If you go to their website, which is barocco.com, you can print one out. But if you mark off any 10 of the squares, they don't have to be like a normal bingo where they're in a line or diagonal or anything like that. They can be any 10 squares. Some of them are like liking our Facebook page, liking Barocco's Facebook page, buying a certain amount of their yarn, but there's no purchases necessary for it. There's a number of the squares that you don't have to buy anything. You just have to somehow interact with a store or online or something. So you could pick that up at the same time. And what they do is once you get your 10 squares marked off, then you mail that to Barocco, and they're going to randomly select 10 winners to win a prize pack that's like over, it's going to be a couple $100s, I think, because it's some of their new books, I think, which the value of that was $93, and then yarn to knit any project of your choice.
Wow.
Out of their yarns. So I mean that could add up pretty quick. So I mean, you could be looking at a couple $100s or more worth of prizes, and they're doing that for 10 randomly drawn participants. So
you could do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you could definitely do both, because some are visit a new to you LYS. So
very cool.
If you haven't been to some of these, you could take that with you and mark it off. Yeah.
Excellent.
So just a little tie in there.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
So I think that's about all we've got.
I know we're an hour again. I don't have anything to talk about. So
thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and
we'll see you. At this rate, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. We'll see you on social media. Come and hang out with us. Chat with us. I'm going to try to do that Periscope video sometime and do a little virtual tour of the store, and say hi to everybody. So if you're not following us on Periscope, check us out there. Because I'm going to try to start doing more and more fun stuff with that.
That'll be good.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Right. So thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Bye.
Hi. Hello. We're getting set up back here.
Right.
Come on,
You
Carol.
don't want to be the owl. You just say hi.
Just say hi.
There's
Hi.
Carol.
Hi.
Oh God,
Don't
my
get
face
it
is
easy.
really red. Woo! Need some powder. Anyway, bye.
I think I should leave it right there. Don't you? That's a good spot for it. Classy we are.
Fantastic. You know, it's funny that I notice, like, whenever I turn my head and talk,